although there were no national figures at present, it was thought that only 10% were now stepping forward, including us. "Give me a few moments while I speak with my husband," I told Sandra. "Just 1 minute, okay?" Though I knew I didn't really need a minute. Mike had overheard the conversation anyway, and immediately, if blearily, nodded his consent. "Tell her yes," he said, sitting up, "so they can get on their way with him, but try to find out as much as you can from them, won't you? Be good to have at least some idea of what we're dealing with." Which could be anything, obviously. There were many possible scenarios, from a road accident to a murder, and everything in between. One thing was for sure, though, it would be something serious. No child was ever taken into care this way lightly, especially in the middle of the night. So I did exactly that. But even as I waited on the line for Sandra to come back and give me all the information she had subsequently promised, I knew that in reality she would probably know very little about the case. She wouldn't know, for example, how long the child might need to stay with us. She wouldn't know anything about his background unless he was already in the system. And she wouldn't know anything at all about his likes and dislikes, or what he was capable of, or needed, both emotionally and physically. "There's not a lot, to be honest," Sandra confessed when she got back to me, having given the police our details and confirmed they could set off to our address. Our new address? I was still at the stage of trying to memorise the postcode. "I don't know the child at all because it doesn't seem to be in the system. As I said before, though, he's called Ethan Baines, and he's just gone 5. I got a call half an hour ago from the police to ask if we could place him urgently. It's such a tragedy." She went on to tell me all she knew, and it was indeed a tragedy. Ethan, it transpired, had woken in the night to go to the toilet and had come across his mother collapsed on the bathroom floor. Unable to wake her, he'd become hysterical and eventually ran to the next door neighbours, who woke up to hear his screams coming through their letterbox. The man next door had gone back with him and, having seen the state of Ethan's young mother, had called emergency services, both the police and an ambulance. "She was confirmed dead at the scene," Sandra went on. "Suspected heroin overdose. And as Mum and Boy hadn't lived in the area very long, the neighbour was unable to provide details of any extended family who could step in. In fact, he was fairly sure there was no family to speak of, no partner that he knew of, and no grandparents either. He described Mum as very much a loner. And as he has a police record himself, he was unable to provide Ethan a bed for the night, even though he did offer, so the police had no alternative but to take Ethan to the station with them and contact social services." "Oh, poor mite," I said. "That's just awful." "I know," Sandra agreed. "Apparently the poor boy is in shock now. No longer hysterical or crying. In fact, the police said he's refusing to speak at all. Has just clammed up and has been sat staring into the middle distance." "I'm not surprised," I said, feeling so sad for the little boy. "At 5, he won't be able to process any of what has happened yet, I'm sure. But, oh God, when it sinks in..." I was hit then by the enormity of the situation and tried to flip back in the filing cabinet of my mind to recall if I'd dealt